we sort of are the people that make up this city. Yet there are so many places where we can't really go, like unless we have the money to go there or the credentials to go there or this or that. And I kind of, and I think that everybody every day who puts their shit out in public is really questioning that. It's being like, this is my city. We are what makes up this city, and I'm gonna show my presence.
Any possibility of freshness always seems to be in the streets, and everything comes from the streets all the time. You can't necessarily always trace it, but that's where it all comes from. It really does. Every 10 years, every 15 years, it's amazing.
Inside work for me right now will always be like the zoo. You go in there with an expectation to see something wild or foreign, but it's never the same experience as if you go out to the safari and see these animals in the natural habitat. Same with the gallery. You walk in, something's going to be there. As in with the street, it's unexpected, completely untamed.
If you want to do graffiti, man, I can't front, man. If you want to do graffiti, man, the name you got to come up with has got to be a dope name. Because if it's whack, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know. You got to come up with a good fucking name, and then you're gonna come up with your tag style, and then you're gonna put a little, arrows or whatever into it. You got to come up with your own shit. Whatever influences you, you come up with your name. Whatever best describes you. Come up with your name, then you're gonna put tags up, right? I start off with markers, you take markers, you go out, you bomb your little neighborhood. You got tags, and you got throw-ups, and you got fill-ins, you got straight letters, you got floaties, you got pieces, you got top to bottoms, you got, T to B's. I guess that's about it, really, man.
Definitely not worth it.
I actually had a babysitter who was a little bit older than me, and she was starting to write graffiti, and she actually, in her course as my babysitter, taught me to write graffiti. And she actually held up a piece of paper on the wall and had me practice in marker, and then coached me, told me faster, faster, or they'll catch you. And that was actually the first. That was in my apartment, and then it was shortly after that that I was the only one in a subway car by myself with a marker and a motive, and I went for it. Well, the subway was a symbol of the total urban neglect and decay of the 1970s too. You're talking about like major squalor in major places. Places now that have like boutiques where, abandoned buildings back then. So, the subway was a system of all of that neglect. They were disgusting, they stunk, they were dirty, they were gray, they were horrendous places, and graffiti writers were convinced that they were adding life and vitality to a place that was completely devoid of any humanity, and it was just a symbol of the fuck you attitude that people felt the city had.
Spray adhesive.
What does spray adhesive do for it?
Keeps the stencil flat while in paint, especially in this weather. it's hard to get it to stay flat. When I came to New York in the early 90s and was putting a lot of stickers up, I realized that every square inch of space seemed to be used except for a lot of the lamp bases like those. So I just made stencils that fit those. And that's probably the stuff that I'm most known for.
Yeah.
It's all the lamp-based stencils. But, no, I wouldn't say I came up with anything. If I had an ego, I'd say, yeah, I invented red, constructivist propaganda, the star.
I was like walking along Myrtle one day, which is where I live, and there was this new billboard, and it was like huge, and it was totally on street level, and I was like, wait a minute, no. I was like, not only can I reach that, but like, I just want to like make a presence and like take over the street in this way that like, that I think needs to happen. Like, I think that we deal really passively with what is now really happening on a large scale of like the visual takeover of our space. And people just kind of deal with it the way that we're dealing with all kinds of things that are happening very slowly in this country. And I find it to be a way to be active, to just be like, okay, this is my space. This is what I want to see in this space. This is what I'm doing about it.
Then you can't see us.
Yeah.
Shit's freezing. Did some stuff in Philly last year. The stuff was freezing, like it hit the wall and freeze like so fast. But then we learned that if you mix salt into the paste, it doesn't freeze as fast. But we didn't do that with this. I keep I've got a fold-up ladder that extends to 16 feet that'll fit in the back seat of my car. So I'll go out, use that in LA. It's really good too because you got a ladder and you're doing stuff in the daytime, nobody thinks you're doing anything illegal. Because it's way too conspicuous to be illegal.
With graffiti, I think that I'm making it more of a organized way of putting my name up. You know, you can see 15 tags on one block. You know, you may see one sign of mine on one block.
I had a studio on 38th Street, and I was playing bagpipes to support myself, playing on the streets. I used to play bagpipes in San Francisco, and then I traveled in the 60s, traveled around the country, American bagpipes. And so I was thinking of painting signs on the side, you know, to make money. I was playing the music, I was desperate. And there were clips in the front of the building to make a sign. So I painted a sign that said signs. I think it said signs. It was a picture, and I hung it up, and then I thought, wow, how nice. So I began doing more, and then it just took over.
back of it? I'll do the back of it. Here, you gotta help me put that shit. Give this side a round of applause. Give a round of applause. Definitely deserve a round of applause.
Really, the thing in graffiti is to change that shit somehow. And if you've changed it, then you've succeeded. If you've changed graffiti, you've succeeded. You know what I'm saying? And somehow your letters, your style, your way of bombing, your idea, your thought process, it's not just putting your name up and getting out there. It's like the whole installation, where it is, where it is, how did you do it? Which, how did you get over that gate behind the shit right there? That's my shit. I don't just like doing shit right out in the public. I like doing shit like in the backyard over on the side where, you might not see it the first 20 times you drive by, but then one day you're gonna see it, you know what I'm saying? Street magician.
Destroy something in order to create, and that's why all the terminology is all destructive. Bombing, I'm gonna go bombing. We used to talk about hitting. That's what you call writing way back in the day. It was called hitting. Then it became tagging, bombing, and then all the graffiti crews all had names that were, masters of destruction. It's that Nietzschean kind of existentialist philosophy. Because really, you have to destroy the letter in order to create an original hieroglyph. You can't just use a plain block style letter the way it's been handed to you. You have to take the letter form and destroy that. So a graffiti artist is thinking about, well, what do I need to destroy in order to replace it with something better, something more humane, or something more colorful, or something that's life affirming.
I thought, what happens if you did graffiti where most people would see it and they'd just be like, oh, it's art. And I was thinking, what do most people like? And I was like, well, everyone likes pretty landscapes, and I was like, if I do them in oil paints and they look like super traditional paintings, it'd be interesting to see whether that was more important to people than the fact that they were illegal. I'm originally from England. I've lived in the States for 20 years. I would never have any street credibility, let's face it, I mean, let's look at me. So I thought I'd do something like that. And then I just loved it. And I started thinking about it. And I thought, oh, this is such a great project. I'll just do 100 of them.
I basically make metal sculptures or found object sculptures, and with the collaboration with a friend of mine, Johnny Swing, like I said before, devised a bracketing system to go off of the no parking signs around the city because they're pretty obvious ready-made base. But unlike things that I've seen in the past, and certainly many things that I've seen while I've been doing it and presently and concurrently throughout it, my pieces seem to really last and have longevity because I weld the hell out of them, and also because I've designed them to stay that way.
This is how you get up when you need to get some height. I made one of these, a little step on each side, and then you come over here, slap it on the pole, bang, and then you, this isn't welded on so good, so hopefully this isn't going to fall off, but then bang, and then you're able to get up on your pole, and you get as high as you want, and then I have different tools, and I work into the, I bore open the holes on the pole, then I slap the piece on, then I get my vandal-proof nuts and bolts on the back, I crank down, bang, I pop them off, jump down, grab the step, and you're out.
Mary Petrushka, she and I have lived together for about 20 years.
We put signs up together.
Yeah, she helped a lot.
Did you show him the limo thing?
No, I will.
We rented a limo at one point. In that case, he had the two women, being the hot little objects, on the ladder, helping him install so that, you know, everybody thought it was a movie or something. I mean, at one point, a fire engine was coming up 6th Avenue. We were putting one out in front of the Limelight, and they just stopped with the blary. They just stopped for like half a block to give us silence for the video or whatever the hell we were doing. It was amazing.
That was the run-in with authority.
Yeah, and in that case, we were fluffed, but that was cool. That was cool. It was a nice installation.
Seeing the stretch limousine, no police questioned us. It was great. Under cover of wealth.
The illegality of it really kind of hit me. I don't know, it went fine for a while, and I never had any troubles with people on the street. And most of the time, you know, when the cops saw me, I would just wave at them and, you know, smile and say, of course I have permission. And they would be like, you know, I was totally protected by my demographic. I mean, this is kind of what I wanted the project to show, which is that, you know, as a white woman, you can get away with a hell of a lot more. There's no question that if, you know, I was a teenager, like a teenage boy, you know, Hispanic or African American, this could have had some sadder endings.
Police rolled up on me, doing a tag, like blah, blah, blah. Fucking roll up. Right here. And like, and he grabs me, he seen me do it, he takes me back there. And then Jasper, he takes Jasper because he looks like an accomplice lookout, which he really wasn't. And this fool over here was doing all the mischief too. So he gets let off free along with my girlfriend, and they walk off while me and Jasper, an innocent man, spends 19 hours in the system.
It sucks. Getting bagged really fucking sucks, man. It really, really sucks. I had a clean fucking record, and like, you know, I mean, I've been arrested a bunch of times, but I've never been convicted, and then all of a sudden, you know, to get convicted for graffiti and then be on 3-year probation, $5,000 fine, a couple thousand for my lawyer. You know, they got me, man. They got me to rat on myself. I'm not even gonna front. They got me to rat on myself. Straight up. I ratted on myself. I don't know why I did that. Well, you know what happened, man? You know what happened is that the 5-0s, they came to my crib, right? And my mom's, she lets him in. You know, but mom lets him in because mom's nice. So then after a while, they got in my head, man. I kept telling them I wanted to talk to a lawyer, and they were just like, yo, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. How was it the right thing to do? To rat on myself, but I did, you know, and I admitted to it, you know, and I don't know why, you know, and I did. After like an hour and a half of them in my crib talking to me with my mom there, you know, like everybody's, you know, convincing me this is the right thing to do somehow.
Mayor Giuliani promised to improve the quality of life, and now there's word one of the city's most destructive vandals, the so-called Graffiti King, is being prosecuted.
The name Dessa spelled trouble in capital letters for 10 years in all 5 boroughs. The prolific scrawls attributed by police to the hand of 19-year-old Robert Morrissey.
And in an unusually harsh sentence, he will get 1 to 3 years in prison. Morrissey, who's tagged Desa, D-E-S-A.
They call me Dessa, me, Robert, and in New York City I'm one of, I guess, infamous in a sense, but I don't think I'm infamous. I think it's a bunch of crap. Infamous of being put into prison jail for graffiti twice. Pretty much my background is more of a celebrity media thing than actually graffiti, because I never had a chance to actually put my name in all the places I wanted to, and like my friends did, because I was either in jail or going to court and didn't want to risk getting arrested anymore.
He's done at least $1 million worth of damage throughout the city. He's hit cars and sanitation trucks, police vehicles, fire trucks, mailboxes, walls, you name it, he has hit it.
It's weird because a lot of my friends were there. VE was there. You know, he wrote on just as much as I did. They caught VE plus everyone else, but they let them all go because they had me and they didn't want everyone else there, because then it's basically a bunch of kids going out messing around, you know, fooling around what kids do. But to take me alone and arrest me for it is, this villain that's been destroying Queens and Brooklyn for all these years, and you know, he just got put on probation and he's still not stopping. What I am, or what I was at the time, was just a teenage boy, a teenage kid doing what thousands of others do.
You read any good bridges lately around downtown?
Have you noticed they contain messages some see as funny and others see as blasphemous? 2 graffiti artists claim they've turned our city into their canvas.
Many people see it. It's an unedited form of expression. It's a challenge.
Without helicopters or hovercrafts, these 2 guys claim responsibility for graffiti all over the greater Cincinnati area. Words from above, you read from the road.
This speaks a lot louder and to a much wider audience, doing these overpasses, and thousands of people pass them every day. There's names that people are familiar with, and they can relate to names like Chris Sabo, and died for our sins is like a sentence everybody's familiar with.
And speaking of the 1990 world champs, here's pitcher Rob Dibble.
Rob Dibble bust me upside my head. Rob Dibble was known to have a temper.
Now, these guys say their work is not over yet. They have big plans for the future. They won't reveal what exactly those plans are, but they guarantee we'll see them. That's all from here. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Tiffany Gans. Jack, I'll send it back to you.
Felt great for the first time in my life. You know, like I did something that made a lot of people laugh. You know what I'm saying? And that felt good. Felt like an entertainer for a minute. I was thinking in summer, you know, what if I rejected the name and dealt with content, you know? How would that, you know, I said, I bet you that would get a lot of reactions. Didn't really fully realize it through this winter.
First, I was into printmaking, and I just remember like looking around and being like, damn, this is a really nice collage. Like everything on the street just looked so like, there was all these layers going on, and I was like, it's just beautiful. Like, and I just wanted to like sort of work into that. And I was doing that for a little while and just like thinking about the way that like work like affects a space, and like what all is going on in the city, and all the little symbols and all the little things that you read, and like where you find them and what they mean, and like the way I feel about public work. Like I started to really look around and be like, oh, I love all this stuff. Like this work is the best work that I see. Like galleries got to be so boring and just like a dead white space, and like all this stuff out on the street was completely accessible to everybody.
I use, let me quote Chomsky, I use images and phrases that are emotionally potent to try to bring people out of the mentality of spectator democracy. Yeah, I was actually turned on to Chomsky by people who read stuff that I said and said, have you read Chomsky? Because I think you'd like him if you haven't.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting that it was just a coincidence that I you know, had some of the same ideas. It wasn't inspired by him, but actually reading stuff by him gave me some of the language I needed to more clearly articulate my ideas. So, and plus it's nice when you feel kind of like you're coming up with stuff in a vacuum, you know, to have something that legitimizes it or validates it.
This is, I went to the welding shop and cut off a piece of an existing bar. I got this technique from this guy who does sculptures. I don't know his name. I kind of borrowed the idea of chopping a pole off a little bit and then attaching it. I think I'm about like trying to give, you know, go to an area that's missing something and try to give what it's missing, sort of like that.
What I do isn't repetitive in the sense of that I write my name and you know, plaster it all over the place. Not one single piece that I've ever done has been repeated, so everything is one of a kind. Everything's different, you know, and a lot of it relates to issues of life or of personal things and whatnot. So they're all like little messages and whatnot. They all speak stories. And a lot of the times there'll be site-specific, so the locations will relate to the piece itself, and maybe I'll do a tribute to somebody or a place or something, and where it's located has immediate relevance. Yeah, Mike Tyson. Well, yeah, I was a big Mike. We were all big Mike Tyson fans in the '80s, and you know, even through the '90s. And yeah, I did a tribute piece for Tyson, and I made it out of like I made a heavyweight belt out of like a gas cap and like a fire hose. And then I cut out a thick silhouette of him in about 1.5 inch plate. And I found an old speed bag from Gleason's and set it up underneath so you could actually hit it. And I installed it outside of Don King's office. It was 69th between Madden Park, you know, the big Don King Golden Palace. And went in about a week after I installed it, just walked in and talked to the receptionist, and she told me that they'd all seen it obviously, and he actually like hit the bag a couple times, which is kind of nice. So bingo, got the interaction.
You can see it was a different color originally because I matched this orange where I went over the edge to the color that the poster used to be.
Did you cut this out or?
No, this is just painted. And so, I mean, I'd normally add a template. So what you do is you draw this circle with a template, and then I'd fill it in with white gesso, and then I'd leave it to dry for a day, come back, sand it. The white circles were the hardest things because people would be like, why are you doing a white circle? Like once you had the painting started, it was much easier because people were like, oh, it's a painting, I understand. So, yeah, and the map was a nice thing to do because it was fun to have something to give people. And then, you know, the whole thing of being able to find the whole thing. I mean, this is, the gray ones were ones that were like either too dangerous, I didn't want people to go to, or they were too, or they disappeared, you know, they were on like containers that got hauled away or got graffitied over right away. But most of them lasted. Like, it's amazing that they're still around to me.
Like the other little poster and collages were sort of like portraits of the city, like imposed on the city, you know? And these like, even though, I mean, there's a lot of different stuff, like this one has like bird vertebra and like different stuff going on in it, but largely it's like, I feel like you've got like this portrait, right? But then the insides are kind of like just all the various like things that are going on in your environment and like all the shit you carry with you and all the things you see when you walk down the street, you know. The holes are kind of like reason enough to work with the walls as canvas, but I feel like there's something else that I just haven't quite gotten yet.
Like what's the benefit of the street as opposed to them?
You know, well, there's no rules in the street. You know, there's nothing. It's just you and whatever. There's no, yeah, man. That's the best. That's the best shit. It's just you spray paint the street, and that's it. You know, I got to give it to like guys like Dessa. In that sense, they're just bombing. That's all I want to do is just bomb. It's the best shit, yo. Getting over, doing your thing. That's the best thing, man. Fuck galleries, man, for real, man.
You know, you get like inspired or incited about something, you know, socially or politically or a personal experience or something with a friend or a girlfriend or, you know, even something as personal as a family matter. And you're able to just kind of like spin out on it in a metal shop, you know, just make something here. And no one else might know what it's about, and then you just throw it up and they take a different meaning on it, but at least, you know, it's just like, bang, you just voiced it and got it out. It's like, don't need to lie down on the couch.
You know, people tell me they seen my stuff, and that I'm just hearing from a fraction of people that saw it, just a fraction, that's all. And if you could put something, you know, positive on there, on this street, and thousands of people see it, that's more powerful than advertising almost. It's more powerful, you know, it's a very powerful form of communication because of the fact that anybody can do it. I'm working on like a $0, you know, I'm just doing this, you know.
It's sort of important to me to just not necessarily not be alienating, but to not be like snobby or not be like, but to really be able to reach like everybody. I want to reach the guy who's like, I'm not going to go in that gallery because the guy working at the desk's shoes cost more than I make in a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want it to be reachable to the guy who's just walking down the street. Like, he doesn't, you know, or driving down the street or riding your bike or whatever the hell you're doing. I mean, I don't want to say, like, I'm this populist artist or whatever, but that's sort of what I'm trying to do is, like, is do something that's immediate, you know?